in projecting the Chiefs team overall next year, I've seen the over-under on them next year is 10.5. There are a lot of moves made in that division outside of the Chiefs, especially with the Chargers, the Broncos bringing in Russell Wilson, and the Raiders. Big picture in that division, how do you see that division shaking out this year?
I think it's going to be really tight. And given that there's 7 teams that are going to make the playoffs, I think 3 of them could come from the AFC West.
I really like what the Raiders have done in particular, and I think that because of the Russell Wilson noise, their offseason has really gone a little bit under the radar. But I think the biggest question for the Chiefs coming into this year is really, how scared are you of the Chargers? This is a Chargers team that they had the hot young coach. They have the next man up in terms of superstar quarterbacks, and they gave them a run for their money, at least both times they played last year. They beat them the first time. They had that overtime thriller the second game. So I'm curious how you're feeling going into this year with a team that seems to be on the ascent, nipping at your heels as kings of the AFC.
It's the Chargers. They've been on the ascent forever. I mean, the day that Derwin James and everyone on offense plays 12 games in a season, I'll start to be concerned. But in all honesty, before that, you're right. On paper, the matchup is there. And quite frankly, the guy who goes under the radar is Mike Williams, who's had his way with the Chiefs secondary in years late. But they've gone a long way towards rebuilding that. And I do think that we're going to see a shift in the way that they play them so that they don't get taken apart as much as they have been by Williams in particular. They drafted Trent McDuffie, who's going to play on the outside and who is going to be a starter on this roster. He's given them not only a couple of inches in height, but definitely a couple inches in arm length. And so that shifts the way that you have to defend that player in particular. Everybody wants to rave about Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen does not scare me. He doesn't scare the Kansas City Chiefs or the rest of the AFC West because he's got to do something with the ball in his hand in order to be productive in that offense, and that's where you can catch up to him. And I think his overall skill is pretty overrated, to tell you the truth. I hope that the Chargers expert agrees. Yeah, oh yeah.
This is sacrilege. This is sacrilege. I am a man of the Church of Keenan Allen, and so you believe that he's an overrated talent. Tell me why. I need to know.
I believe Cameron Sutton's a better player.
Interesting.
That is just the fact, because he can beat you in multiple ways. Route running, Keenan Allen is not to be contested. That's fair enough. Now that Tyreek Hill is out of this division, he's the best route runner in the division. But I do not trust him to play clutch. I do not trust him to go over the top. I do not trust him to be the guy that changes the game. I think Williams is the bigger player in bigger pressure situations.
Whoa. He doesn't even play Mike Williams.
He does every time they got to beat the Chiefs, and that's what it comes down to in this division.
So one thing that I love about Keenan Allen is he's not particularly fast. He's not particularly able-bodied. But even now, and last year was really when you saw a lot of tread on those tires. You saw him, especially with the ball in his hands, he was falling over a lot because, like you said, this offense they're running in L.A., it requires you to run with the ball, and you're getting the ball sort of quickly a lot of the time. And Keenan Allen, at this stage of his career, is not burning anybody down the field for the yards after catch. But what stands out to me is, and I still would say that, I mean, Devontae Adams is there now, but to me, he has to be the second best receiver in that division because even if you look at him in this diminished capacity last year, he still was outproducing Mike Williams, who, by all accounts, is a physical freak, way better in terms of like physicality right now, speed, everything. But on the actual field on a play-to-play basis, Keenan Allen is the guy who every third down, he is open, he is available, and he's making high-leverage third down catches. He was literally deserves way more credit in that offense than I think a lot of other guys got last year because they were placed in third and short so often, and the whole offensive game plan in third and short was essentially, Keenan, go do something, please.
Right, and that doesn't win you ball games. That's my whole point. When you take a look at the pressure situations, and especially against the AFC West, how many games did he actually contribute to the outcome?
That's fair, but I also think that of their issues last year, I would say that Keenan Allen ranks relatively low. I mean, a lot of, I think, their challenges last year were more to do with this offense being designed to shepherd teams down, running the ball down their throat, and they just weren't any good at stopping the run. And if you're the entire purpose of your defense is to say, okay, run it at us, and they're like, okay, I'm going to run for 10 yards a clip, then Keenan Allen, it doesn't matter. It's all for naught.
That's fair, but that still doesn't diminish the facts or the facts. Just because you have some bigger problem out there that determines outcomes doesn't mean that he's off the hook.
So what is the case for Cortland Sutton over Keenan Allen as a talent?
I think what you see from him is the multiple ways that he can win. He can go over the top and high point it. He can actually get loose. His route running has improved, and I think it's kind of like the changing of the guard here. Maybe 2 seasons ago, Keenan was still better, but I see them passing each other. And obviously, when everybody's chasing Devontae Adams, I think that raises the boat for everybody, but it's a question of, can a younger player now ascend a little bit more than, like you said, Allen, who's getting up there a little bit.
I'm totally with you on the Cortland Sutton. At this point of his career, I would buy into him over Keenan. If at the very least, like you said, like he's a player on the ascent. He was coming off an ACL and really contributed last year in a major way, and now he's getting the best quarterback of his career by a wide margin. And I think that Broncos offense is going to try to justify at every opportunity having Russell Wilson on their team.
They better.